growing up in a Christian household, I'm grateful for that.
Okay.
Because now in life, we all go through trials and tribulations,
Yeah, of course.
but now I know how to walk through those situations
Hmm.
in the event that I face them
Okay.
because I know who I can rely on. Most people walk through life and they try to paint a perfect picture of who they are. They paint this persona, but of course it's important to have an idea of who you want to be and be that person, but then also at the end of the day, all you have is yourself.
Mm.
It's important to love yourself and just be yourself.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the B4Real Podcast. And today I have something special. A good friend of mine. We worked together for quite some time, and I'm just proud of this young man. And we have today Landon Richards.
Hello, how's it going, Rakeem? It's
Man,
good seeing you.
how's it going, man? It's been
A
a
long
year and a
time,
half,
yeah.
2 years, man. But today we get this time to sit down and just talk and just catch up or whatever. And if you're new to the channel, here what we like to do is give people their flowers, especially people who are doing things, whether that's in their life, in the community, or things like that, and just give them their flowers and just say good job sometimes. And also another thing we like to do is give gems and jewels for people who want to do what the people we have on here do, or the people who just want to be successful and just want to know where to start, man. So I'm glad today to be sitting here with a good friend of mine, Landon Richards, man. How's it going? And let me know something. What's new?
I can't complain. A lot has happened since the last time I saw you. I'm telling you, man, it's crazy how much change has occurred in my life since
And in
the
mine as well.
pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I see that you're doing big things. I like to watch you on social media. I like how everything you post is it. If I could give a word to it, everything you post, it always has purpose. You never just, all right, I'm gonna post this picture today. And every time I see one picture, I'm like, okay, where is he going? And then I wait a day. Those two go together. So I'm just like, okay, everything you do has purpose. So I guess we can start there, man. Give me a little bit around about how you go by posting and what is your goals when it comes to social media and things like that.
Great question. So I'll say, um, prior to, or no, right after the pandemic, I took social media very seriously. I was posting about like 5 to 7 times a week, which is kind of a lot. And it got to the point where it became daunting. I despised it because I would have to constantly post content, and it felt like I was posting quantity rather than quality.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to take a step back, and I'm happy that I took that step back because I was able to realize, the purpose, what's important to me, what do I want to convey to my audience. And that's whenever I realized that, I'm a storyteller at the end of the day. And I love being able to tell the beginning, middle, and end. So
And not to cut you off, but when I first met you, and then after we got to know each other for a little bit, I was like, man, this guy is something about him. And you get so many things when you look at Landon. I get entrepreneur, I get business guy, but then most of all, I was like, this guy could be a model. So you know what I'm saying?
you know,
Don't do that. But I was like, this guy can model, whether that's any products, clothes, and things like that. So when I look at you on social media, I was like, man, some brand one day is gonna be like, man, we found us a gem in this guy.
literally. Okay, so one project that I worked on, I did like a beach theme for a
Oh, I
shoot.
love that. No, are you talking about when you did the with the cologne?
Yeah, with the clone.
When I seen the cologne in the sand, I was like, wait a minute, this is it may be. I actually I think at that time I googled that cologne.
Listen,
I think it made me research.
so fun fact, I have something called synesthesia.
Synesthesia.
Right. So sometimes whenever I listen to music, I can see different colors,
Oh.
or I see like a whole, idea in my head, or sometimes whenever I smell certain things, I see things. And so whenever I first sprayed that cologne, that scene that I put on my
You
social media,
visualized
I
that.
saw
That's
that
what you saw when you
when I sprayed it.
when you sprayed it.
Right.
So that's just a vision, an idea that you got.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um.
Yeah.
So going throughout it, so how did you plan that shoot, or was that just off in the wing? You just knew you wanted to go to a beach.
Well, there's several factors that led up to that moment. So, one, I always knew that I wanted to do something with like water, something along the lines of that. But I also wanted to do something where it felt different
Okay.
from my content that I've posted previously, where it felt as though if you were just watching it alone, you would have thought that it was a sponsored
That's
post.
what I thought. I was like, I was so happy for you when I just after the first 2 seconds, I'm like, my boy got a deal. But then I later realized, okay, he's just doing this. This is just art.
I just
There's
wanted
just
to do
something he
it.
loves to do. But I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves though, because I do want to go into the social media and things. Give us a little bit about your upbringing and background. I didn't start the episode by stating, accomplishments and things like that. My boy is a Lamar University graduate. Not
Peckham.
I love that. Do it again one time.
Peckham.
Yeah, a Lamar University graduate, and he has a long list. Man, give him some of the things that you do.
Okay, so I recently graduated with my MBA from Lamar University with a focus in leadership. I received my undergraduate degree last year. I graduated. My major was human resource management. I minored in communications. But as a student at Lamar University, I worked in the marketing communications office, which is where I got more exposure to the world of production and also marketing overall. I learned how to edit videos, and I had a great time. I was able to participate with Amazon Prime for a project that Lamar University did through them, and
Wow.
it's really cool to be able to like turn the TV on and go to my episode and see
That's
myself.
crazy.
You
I'm gonna
know?
have to. Why you have to send me that after
Okay,
the
I sure will.
podcast? But
I sure will.
I do know when I first met you years ago. You were in high school, but then you later went to college, of course. And your whole thing was, I think you were more looking into just you knew but you didn't know. You was like entrepreneurship type thing. Then
Right.
I noticed that you started getting more into the media later on. Can you give us first? Give us a little bit of your upbringing and how this whole social media thing doesn't match what it was in the beginning. Just
Okay.
give us a
Okay.
rundown.
So I have four older siblings. I'm the youngest. So by stating that, you already know that growing up was a little bit different
Different,
because I
yeah.
have my parents, and then I have, if you think about it, four other parents. And so,
Oh, I didn't even think of it that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing about that, my parents, they weren't too familiar with social media. My siblings, they didn't have social media. So my parents were just more so aware of, what they see on the TV, experiences that other people have had with social media. They were worried about, cyberbullying and everything. But, we came to an agreement, and we decided that, eventually whenever I turned 18, that I would download, Instagram, and I'd make a Facebook account, and, get Snapchat. And so, I'm gonna be obedient. So that's
Of course.
exactly what I
Of
did
course.
for my birthday. I still remember it to this day. The first thing that I did whenever I woke up, I went to the App Store, Instagram.
You can see how long he was off social media, how he never was on it because what he thought about on his birthday was to go
Well,
and
yeah,
download social
and
media.
see the reason why I was so excited about it is because prior to that, it was something that I really wanted to do.
It was on your
because-
18th birthday.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
And I had a Pinterest, so it's social media, but I don't really count
That
Pinterest
doesn't really
as social
count.
media.
But what you was about to say though?
But I did all this research. I watched YouTube videos on, the best times to post your content and what type of content you should create and why it's important to stay in your niche and which hashtags you should use. I did all of that research. So I really just wanted to just go right on into it and just see what could happen because you hear about all these people getting discovered on social media.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be famous one day.
Famous, wealthy, all that.
Look, I'm trying to put the rich in Richard, okay? So
Bars.
yeah.
Well, no,
Is
but
anyone in the bar squad
no,
now?
no. I knew it was coming.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
Maybe in a few years. But yeah, continue.
But that's pretty much it, But I ended up getting social media. I posted, and like I said, I posted like every day for a while, took a break, and now I'm posting content that I feel truly matters to me because I saw this TikTok a few months ago, and it's just basically stating that my personal social media channels should be like viewed as an art gallery.
Mm.
If you were to go into my museum, this is what you would see. This is my life. This is how I view things. And you should just be happy that, I'm letting you see a glimpse into that because I don't have to.
Wow, I love that, and it's like when you're. I don't know if I was reading a article or I saw a post, but the way the person, I forgot who it was, he said that anything that you put out into the world is like you're offering to the world, and everything you put out, you should put that passion into it, and because when you think about it, everything is art.
Right. It is.
Everything is art, and what art is your creative expression. And I feel like
Mhm.
the content that you provide and the ideas that you have, it shows your creative expression.
Well, thank you. I truly love creating and just thinking
Especially
outside
my
the
favorite
box.
picture of yours will have to be the one. I don't know exactly what it is. It has the little feathers.
Oh, the crow.
That
Okay.
was crazy.
So, can I tell you a little bit about
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
So, Halloween is like, my Super Bowl as a creative. I always try to come up with different concepts. I remember I was Gerald from Hey Arnold, jargon one time. I have just done
That's the crazy
many
thing
different
about you
things.
though. When you dressed up, I noticed when you dressed up for Halloween and things like that. Your most people, this is what I'm gonna be for Halloween. That's it. But yours, you get into the theme and you
Yes.
create a theme around it. You create photos around it. I
Mhm.
love that because you make it more than about I'm just wearing a costume.
Right.
No, I'm creating a moment.
See, and that's the thing. And plus, I love pop culture, and so you look at
Okay,
celebrities
they
on
do
how
that.
they,
They
they
kind
do
of.
that. But I just wanted to do my own little spin to it. So about the crow, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be for Halloween, and then I ended up just seeing an ad, and it was like just about like a bunch of feathers, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And typically, I like find music to help complement what I'm seeing in my head, and it ended up all working together. But whenever I was deciding if I was going to be a crow or something else, most normal people aren't like a crow for
Mhm.
Halloween. So I felt like you really would have to
Sell that and
understand
understand. Okay.
the artistic decision behind it because I'm not like a werewolf.
Okay,
It's not
something
something
more
that,
popular.
right.
Because a crow is like we see crows as like, isn't it like a common bird?
Yeah.
Just
And like whenever I think of a crow, I think of, um, just like
scarecrow.
scarecrows and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But
Nothing artsy.
right. But then also, I'm, mindful of what my social media looks like.
Mhm.
And I post everything in black and white. So what's gonna pop
Black. That
in
that was
black?
feathered. Yeah, because it did pop.
Because
Yeah,
it's a
that
different
makes a hell. That's
texture.
that makes a lot of sense.
So
And when you think about the fact that you used a crow in something that's not common in Halloween or something that people would know, you realize that there's beauty in everything.
mhm.
And it's crazy. Everything, just a simple crow, but you made it to where I love that. That's so artsy.
It was a lot of fun,
That's
just
so artsy
challenging myself creatively.
to
Cause
go to that length on
mhm,
something so not cool.
right,
But yeah, so we're all over the place right now, but it's cool. I like it. It feels more like a conversation than anything like that. But I want to go into let's talk about your time at Lamar University, your scholar years. That's what
yeah.
as I would like to call it. So give me to where when you were a freshman and how getting up to junior and senior year you adapted and how different was, and give me some obstacles you faced and things like that.
Okay, so my freshman year, I didn't do anything on campus. I went to school, I went to work, and at the time I worked at the church. I would go home and then I'd go to church again for Sundays and Bible study. So I realized I couldn't do that anymore because I felt like I was missing out on my college years. And so I decided that I should get more involved on campus. I became an orientation leader, and I started joining several organizations. And then right whenever I was having fun
Mm-hmm.
and doing all these great things, the pandemic happened.
Oh man, that was a tough time because I was at the
Hmm.
church during the pandemic, and that's around the time where I learned that I could do things fast because at that time it was all about quantity. You have to do it and get it done. We were recording sermons and playing them. So during that time with the pandemic, as far as balancing college and church, how did that play out?
So it was interesting because at that time we were really unaware of what COVID was like.
Mm-hmm.
So just to stop the spread of it, at that time I took a
Mm.
break from
Quarantine,
ATV.
quarantine.
Hmm.
I remember that.
So I would just watch church, but I didn't necessarily have to go to the church
And
and film the
participate, yeah.
announcements. And so it was different, drastic change for me because I'm used to
Especially when you're used to doing something.
every single week. So that was different. But then also like in college, I remember that week before spring break, we had class, and then we hear about this thing that's going around. We don't know what it is, and we're told maybe we'll have an additional week off from school. But mind you, at that time, people had group meet, but I feel like in college we didn't really use it like that because
Not
we
like
saw
that.
each other
Yeah.
every time we had class. We would you know network and ask each other questions about the homework. But that semester, that spring semester, I spent it all alone. I had no communication with any of my classmates because we didn't have each other's contact information because we felt like we didn't really need
You didn't
it.
need it, and you don't realize that something could happen to where we don't see each other.
Right. And so, mind you, I believe I was taking business calculus. That's a tough class to take when you're having to teach yourself pretty much all the concepts because, the professors, they could only do so much because they have all these students. And so it was a challenging time. And then after the pandemic, really, I pretty much graduated not really having a normal college experience because of the pandemic. So my junior, senior year, I had hybrid courses where, I'd attend class, maybe once a week in person, but everything else was online. So I was at least able to see some of my friends again, but it was very interesting. And then, I went straight into grad school after that, and I completed that all online.
So give me something to where, let me know what the transfer was to where you were not doing anything in college, like as far as extra besides your work, and then all of a sudden you're involved in all these things. Because I know that I remember seeing you host stuff, and just give me. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I saw glimpses of it. I even seen it. I was passing up the Montaigne Center. No one. This is weird. I was passing up the Montaigne. I don't know if they was practicing something or something, but I was passing up the Montaigne Center, and you know how you have to pass it up, and you're passing up the football field. And for some reason, they were playing a video on the screen, and it was you talking, and I was just trying to figure out. Nobody was there. Maybe they were testing the equipment because they had something to show or something. It was weird. It either was a video or a picture slideshow. I don't know exactly what it was, but I see you was holding a mic or something. I was like, what is Landon doing? Like, I don't know. Maybe they played it at a football game or something.
So what happened is I ended up working in the marketing communications office. And so because I started working there and I shared that I had an interest in, videography and photography, but I also had a background in broadcasting.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you good. Go ahead.
Do not disturb.
This is just
okay.
This conversation. You don't have to feel like you done messed up the whole episode. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll just go back. So I ended up working for the marketing communications office on campus, and because of that, I had exposure to many different things. I shared that I had an interest in photography and videography, but I also had like a background in hosting because I've been doing the announcements since I was 15 years old.
Is doing? Did you always have what's the word I'm looking for? A passion for doing like broadcasting and things like that, or did getting in ATV spark that?
I've always had a passion for videography and photography. I remember I was a young child and I began vlogging probably around 9 years old.
That's the thing, vlogging, but you didn't have social. Oh, you had YouTube.
Well, I didn't post it. I was just.
No, I'm saying what sparked the vlogging thing. And you
never. Well, yeah, YouTube.
Okay,
yeah.
You were watching vloggers.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Because I'm like,
yeah.
You don't think a kid without seeing vlogging, you don't think to vlog.
Well, then also at that time, I was really obsessed with Good Luck Charlie.
Good Luck Charlie.
Yeah, on Disney Channel.
Oh, okay, yeah. And they would do it. They would do it. Okay.
So
I never watched it, but I on the pass by.
Yeah. So that's kind of where that sparked. But then I always had my camera with me everywhere I went, and I tried different things. And I remember making little commercials with my siblings during the holidays. Just doing like a family fun project. So I've always had that passion to really be in front of the camera. But as I got older, I wanted to learn how to operate a camera, do the behind the camera work. But I'll say that all of that prepared me for starting doing the announcements at the church, and then working in the marketing communications office, and that led me to being able to film with Amazon Prime and
just get all these opportunities indoors
that I never thought I would have.
How old were you when you started working doing the ATV?
15.
You were 15, and how did that go? Did you get asked, or you just saw interest? How did that go?
So our youth pastor at the time and the previous youth news anchor sat me down and asked me if I'd be interested in taking over the youth news,
news segment.
And so I said, most definitely, because who wouldn't, it's a lot of fun, and I knew I'd be great in front of the camera, so I just wanted to give it a shot.
Do you have a background in theater and fine arts?
I do.
You did that in school, in high school?
Yes.
Okay. Because because that sparks a lot of not scared of being in front of the camera thing. I noticed that a lot of people who did that in school, they don't mind being in front of the camera, but the average person, even people who are good at being in front of the camera, if they didn't start in the fine arts, they had to warm up to that. But
Right.
people who did fine arts in school, it's like, okay, all I need to do is get good at it, but I don't mind being in front of the camera.
And you see, I first started off doing storytelling like in third grade, and then I also did play productions at the church. So I grew up in that world.
So back to the ATV. So the youth pastor at the time,
hmm
I asked you, did you want to get in it? And
Yeah.
then, so you said yes, and you immediately started the next week, or
I
did you?
think it was kind of like we had like a trial episode, and I think the next week I began filming,
And you're
and
just doing it
then
every week.
right. But there was one other time where they had like another person try it as well. I guess to see how the
Which
audience
one would go? Okay.
hmm And so then I guess I ended up. It was,
Get in a row.
Yeah.
Get in a row.
And so,
And I remember Brooklyn and Pastor used to tell me that y'all used to have to travel
mhm,
to get it done
yeah.
and then come back. So every week going to Houston.
hmm
Man.
Now, more so, whenever I started doing it, they would come to us.
Oh, okay. But
But
before then, they used to have to.
mhm,
Okay, I got you.
mhm.
Got you.
But now we do everything
In house
at 3920.
at the West Cardinal job. But what I was about to say, so you started doing that, and then you got. Let's go back to school a little bit because you said that you started doing everything, and then as far as the positions that you had with the broadcasting and stuff like that, what were those roles as far as for Lamar in media?
Well, I ended up having my own talk show called Connecting with Cardinals.
Okay.
And really, it was just more so like social media work that I would do.
So these talk shows and things like that, when they build things around you at Lamar, these are not meant to be forever. These are things while you're a student, basically.
Right.
Okay.
And
How long did that last? Like a semester? A
it
year?
lasted. I started it before the pandemic, so I was a sophomore. So 3 years.
You did seasons.
Yeah, seasons.
That's crazy.
And
That's
then we had to pivot because social distancing.
and the crazy thing about it is you were already good at it because you had been doing broadcasting and ATV, being in front of camera for a long time. So that was nothing for you. All this was a mark on your resume. Like this is all this is. Like you can say that you did that.
Yeah.
I remember we can move on to like me at the church and stuff like that. And I noticed that we were working and filming ATV, and then all of a sudden you started showing an interest in church media and production, live production.
So I remember whenever I first began working with you guys, I had expressed an interest in media much later on. But once I began working with you and Michael, you guys taught me so many different things, especially whenever it came to delivering lines, delivering the announcements at the church, and being mindful of the inflections in your voice and
Oh, yeah.
your body language whenever Brooklyn is speaking. Don't just look dead at the camera. Look at her and nod your head.
And the crazy thing about it is all the things I was telling you. First of all, I'm telling you things that I couldn't do because I wasn't, good being in front of the camera. But there's things that I've analyzed by watching stuff, and I knew that you had it in you. So I was like, okay, this guy's great. All he needs to do is learn how to look enthused and learn how to just make it feel fun. But as soon as we told you all these things, you started doing it by yourself.
And it was a lot of fun. I remember probably like my favorite project we worked on together. It was like a Valentine's Day segment.
That was my favorite, the one with the smoke.
Yeah, we had like a smoke machine, and it was like,
that
very
was
hot.
fun.
And
But that you know what that did? That not only did it make the church announcements more, dynamic, more live, but also I noticed that people started paying more attention to it. And then when you're not doing announcements, they were, I don't know, I hate to say it, but you became Landon. Like it was crazy.
If you want my autograph, you could just ask for it.
You know what? I'm gonna get you to sign that board that's right up there before you leave. I'm gonna erase all that, and then I'll see how much I can get for it on eBay.
Okay. And let me know so I can sign a few things and then sell
Got you. And then, but you're not gonna get any money for it. I'm just letting you know. I'm going to take all the money.
But I do want to thank you and both Michael because y'all sparked this interest in me, and had I not started doing the announcements, I don't know what I would be doing. And then honestly, how you mentioned, having that passion for media, I really got that once I began wanting to make my own content, because I'm the type of person, if I don't know how to do it, I'm going to learn it. I'm going to figure it out until.
And that's what you did. And then you even started. You know how there's those kids that's interested in football, and everywhere they go, they have a ball in their hand. You started having a camera everywhere.
Yep.
I remember I was like, "What? This guy? Where are the camera guys? Stop it!" But you would come, and then every chance you get when we're not doing nothing. So when I press this button, how do I zoom in? Wait, I turn my camera on, and everything looks blurry. How do I? And I was like, "Okay."
I
he's
remember
getting that
being in
camera
Best
bug.
Buy and calling you guys. I was like, "Hey, should I get this camera?" Okay, because it was a point and shoot. Just getting familiar with it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I remember all that. So thank you.
Oh,
Thank
no
you.
problem. And but thank you because basically you made that job more fun, not a job.
It was fun. It was a lot
that
of
was
fun.
that was a great area in life. I'm not gonna lie. At the time, I couldn't appreciate it for what it was, but now that I look back, which we was talking about off camera, how much better that made me as a person, and just meeting all those people, meeting you, and mainly Brooklyn and Pastor Adolph. Like I was thinking, I was just like, man, I'm doing different in life and better in life, and I'm just like, what did God? Like, God, how did this happen? How did I become this? So I'm thinking, I was like, wow, it was because of the church. It was because of Antioch. Some stuff that I didn't even know at that time. Like Brooklyn instilled so much in me. She instilled, work ethic, how to carry us. Like I told you off camera, I didn't know how to carry myself. I didn't know how to talk in front of Brooklyn to tell you. Brooklyn to tell you a funny incident as far as how I kind of embarrassed myself in the meeting. But let her talk to you about that off camera.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, she instilled work ethic, how to carry myself in public, how to speak to people, and just how to land gigs and stuff like that. Because at first I was like, man, everywhere we go, we have to put on this act or this and that. But it wasn't an act. What it is it's just applying yourself and presenting yourself in a formal setting. And I didn't understand that, and now I get it. I hate that I got, like I told you off camera again, I hate that I got it so late, but I guess.
So my question for you is like, if you could talk to that version of Ri'eam, what would you tell him?
I would tell him, what would I tell him? That's crazy. That's a good question. Dang, why do you do that? But I would tell him, what would I tell him? I would tell him to listen. I would tell him to slow down and stop trying to want things that you're not ready for so fast. That's what I would tell him, because at the end of the day, back then, I was just so money driven, and I wasn't, and I should have been more knowledge driven. I was gaining the knowledge, but let's say I was getting it, but at the time I wasn't applying it. But it was still getting in there, which is a great thing because I'm able to apply it now. But if I would have applied it then, I think I would be the things that I wanted back then that I wasn't ready for. I probably would have got it. It's crazy, but I was so focused on what I wanted as an end result, but I wasn't thinking about, man, there's steps to this, and I'm gaining all this information and knowledge, and I'm just not applying it. But now I'm applying it, and life's better. But just imagine if I could have did that right then. So much stuff would happen.
So now my follow-up, what would you say to future Ri'eam?
Future Ri'eam.
You're in this state right now.
I'm in a better state.
So what would you say to, yourself 20 years from now?
What would I say to the future me?
Yeah.
20 years from now, I would say help. I would say give it to someone else. Give it back.
And what do you mean by that?
I would say everything that I've learned from Brooklyn and Pastor and just being in an environment, I would say find someone and pass that knowledge down to them. But not only pass that down to them, but I would say give it to them in a way that they can understand it better. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of times we give information and things that we see as important to people, but we don't know how to meet them where they are. So I want to be able to give that and feed it to them in a way that they can consume it. So what I would say to myself 20 years from now is don't forget you were that child and give back to that person. So
yeah, and one thing I think that's important is just having a vision. So one thing about me, I am very goal oriented, and I always try to have a reminder of the vision that I have for myself for the future, Landon. So one thing I'm a huge fan of is making vision boards and finding different ways and how I can reach the next goal and the steps that I need to take to get there. So if you guys watching, or if you don't have one, I would highly advise you to make a vision board.
See, my thing is I can you like you were saying, the vision board. I can make a vision board, but I always seem to need help organizing it.
Okay,
I know what I want, but how do I put this on paper? That's my thing.
let me tell you the top secret news. Okay, so what I would recommend for you to do is one, go get a poster board. Some people like to use magazines and go in there and cut it up, but I feel like a magazine limits you
Mhm.
because not every page is going to have what you want, or you may cut a page but you really wanted the other side and you're gluing the other,
Yeah, now
you
it's stuck.
just so you
Yeah,
only
for
get
sure.
one part of the vision. But I would say go to Google, type in what you're looking for specifically, the model of the car you want, your goal, I don't know, maybe like if you're trying to save up for a TV, the gold TV you want, just put that on the vision board and then put it in a place that you'll see it
Every day.
every day.
Got you.
Whenever you wake up, you should see it. Whenever you go to bed, you should see it. Some people save it as their screensaver on their phone, so they're
Mm.
constantly reminded of it.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do
You know.
that one. But when I make my vision board, I want you to be a part of it.
Oh, okay,
I'm
yeah.
gonna get all my goals together. I'm gonna do the hard part.
Uh-huh.
Well, no, I'm gonna do the part that only I can do,
Mhm.
and then organize it. I'm gonna get you to help me.
Yes,
And
and
that
then
way, and then you know what that's gonna do for me. Not only is it gonna get you to help me organize it and just get it up, but also there's gonna be you're gonna be my person that holds me accountable for those things. Because I believe that a lot of people say keep your goals to yourself. Yes, you can keep it to yourself, but to admit, someone has to know something because if only you are talking to you about your goals, you'll sometimes feel sorry for yourself and not hold yourself accountable. But I feel like it has to be someone out there, whether it's your mom, your mentor, somebody that knows your goals, and when they see you doing something that's outside of the realm of they can pull you back and say, "Hey, you said you wasn't eating sugar this year, or you said you were going to eat less sugar this year. That's the second Debbie cake." You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like somebody has to say that, and those are those conversations that hurt. Are
you
tough
need
to
them.
talk about, but you need that because if only you knew your goal, it's easy for you to tell yourself, that's only 2 today, but 2 is bad. You see what I'm saying? So you need that as well.
Yeah, and like if you really want to like be more detailed, I'm a detail oriented person, so
I need
I
to learn
really,
I need to learn
really,
how to organize
I
like
love it.
stuff.
That's my
Like
favorite
put things
thing.
to where okay, structure. I did this, check. I did this. I know how to all I know how to do is come up with great ideas and say I'm going to do this. But how do I say, okay, I want to do this many podcast episodes? How do I get it to where I can organize it and say, okay, these are the small things I have to do to get this done. That's where I mess up.
So what I would recommend, once you have your vision board finished, set some time aside and, really think about how much time it would actually take you to accomplish that goal.
Okay,
So,
okay.
have goals for each quarter. So in Q1, I feel like as though I can accomplish goal one. Okay, well, I'll get that finished.
Got you.
And then maybe, the second goal you had set up may take a little bit longer. I'll finish that in Q3. So that way, the third quarter of the year, I know that my goal is to try to finish that goal.
So I told you when I was going to do my vision board. So from now until the day that I do my vision board, do you recommend me just getting all my goals and then like I told you I was going to get you to help me and then we'll discuss and you can help me bullet them out.
Yeah.
So from here to now, think about all the goals I want. Just think
Right.
about all of them.
All of
Okay,
them.
got it. For the 2024.
Yeah. Don't limit yourself. Nothing is
Nothing is too big.
crazy. You
Okay.
know.
And if it is crazy, we can salami slice it down to where you can get as much of it done
Right.
as possible in
Right.
365 days. Okay. Got you.
Yeah, because I remember the first time I did a vision board, I finished everything that I put on that board within the first 6 months.
Wow.
So I'll say it's a game.
So what do you
changer.
do at that point? Make another one?
Well, I mean, so what I did is I just kept going on and I would just find things that I wanted to accomplish and I just did it until it was time for me to make.
So what are
another
you
one.
doing on a I'm trying to figure out like I know things that I do, but like what's some things that you do to stay motivated? Because sometimes you're not going to be motivated every day.
Listen.
And there's a quote that I read somewhere. It says that when you can't be motivated, be consistent. So how do you feel about that and lack of motivation and procrastination and things like that?
So
How do you break that?
one thing that I'm still learning is trying to separate my emotion from the goal, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that, you have to be disciplined. You have to be able to separate, your emotions from that goal. So for example, if your goal is to go to the gym more frequently, well, you may not feel it that day, but you know that you have to go to the gym in order to see these changes in your
that
body.
you want to see.
Yeah, that you want
But,
to see.
man, that's crazy. That reminds me of TikTok that I watch, and he was just like, if you go to the gym one day, you're gonna see nothing. If you brush your teeth one day, you're gonna see nothing. But if you be consistent and do that every single day, you're gonna notice your teeth are cleaner, and you're gonna notice you're beginning to get in shape. And it's like, that's what it is. You have to be determined to be persistent so that you can obtain these goals. Basically the same thing what you said, but it's not going to happen with one thing, because that's the thing. People get discouraged. They go to the gym or they do something 5 times and they're like, nothing's happening. But just keep going.
Keep going.
Keep doing it.
Rakeem, I lost over 100 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying wow like I didn't know this.
Yeah. Like,
well, okay, we're gonna just act like I didn't. Wow, Landon.
Yeah. But it's because
yeah.
I and this was during the pandemic that I started it.
I remember that.
So
because I remember
tough.
I saw you and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, but I that's crazy.
So it's like I was driven, I was disciplined, but also knew I had a goal. And how we mentioned accountability earlier. I did something called 75 hard.
Oh yeah, that's when you do the days, and then if you mess up, you have to start over. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I have a associate of mine who actually did that, and man, it was a
life-changing.
Man. Yeah, he turned out. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard, but anything worth having is gonna be hard.
Yeah, but I'll say, like, for anyone that wants to begin, having goals, now's the perfect time to do it. Now's the perfect time to do it. And honestly, if you're listening to this episode in March,
now it's still the perfect time to do it. When is the perfect time to make changes in your life? Yesterday. It's always yesterday. So I like that you said that. Even if you're watching this later, it's crazy because it applies to any point you're at in life.
And one thing that I'll mention that I like to do is I'll figure out the goals that I have, but who is this version of Landon? I need to start showing up as him before I become him, because I want to be able to seamlessly go into that new version.
How would successful physically fit Landon act? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The positive side of it, of course, but how would how would he present himself? Become that.
Literally.
That's wow. That's a good one.
A switch. So
that's
like,
a good one.
If you're applying for jobs, okay, so you're looking at the company. What do you know about this company? Okay, how did the employees typically act here? Okay, well, start acting like that type of the representation you see from that company.
Be the you want to be. That's crazy.
But also don't lose sight of who you are.
Of course, you can't do that. You can't do that as well. Don't get delusional as if you already have this money.
Be Delulu until it's Trululu.
Be Delulu until it's true. Fake it till you make it. But to an extent, you have to have a little bit of balance, because you don't want to start acting cocky.
Right.
You don't want to forget that
where you came from. No,
because people do that. Since we got on that, how being as because you have your degree and things like that, and a lot of people, you'll be surprised, a lot of people would say that you're on a path to being very, very successful. How important is being what's the word I'm looking for? Humble. Like, how important is it that is?
It's very, very important, because honestly, I didn't even post my graduation pictures until I graduated.
And why is that though?
Really, one, I was studying for finals, but not just because of that. I really I was perfectly fine with really not even posting at all, because it was an accomplishment that I was proud of, and I was fine with celebrating with just my family.
And that's good, because that's the people who really care,
right? And at the end of the day, having my Landon Richards MBA on my Instagram, it's cool.
It's cool,
and don't get me wrong, I haven't changed it, and I will change it. But it's just those 3 additional letters don't define me. I'm still the same Landon. I just graduated with another degree.
And the crazy thing that is crazy you say that is because celebrating that with the people you love, in a way, they're the reason why you made it. At the end of the day,
my parents, I told you I have 4 older siblings.
Yeah.
All of us graduated from college.
And it's
the
crazy because
sacrifices they
I
made.
know some man. I know some people, some of the brightest minds, but they just couldn't quite finish because it's always just the support system they didn't have.
Hmm.
It's a lot of stuff that you gain by having a support system, and that's why it's so easy to be humble with certain things that I get in my life because you notice when you look at the things that you had that's not tangible, like that's not money, and the things that someone else didn't have that didn't get the goals accomplished that you have, and you realize, man, I was one no parent away from not having this. The support system that you had provided the atmosphere that you needed to make these goals, and the other person is just as bright as you, but the only reason why they didn't make it is because of a support system. So the fact that you say that spending those moments and celebrating with your family meant a lot to you, I feel like that's a big deal.
And see, the other way to look at it is, you know, at the end of the day, all glory and honor goes to God.
Always.
Because I wouldn't be able to do it without him. There are times where I'm, studying for a class, economics, and I'm like, oh Lord, what does this mean? I hope it's multiple choice.
Man, that's the thing I was
But
going to ask you because I noticed not only you Brooklyn pastor, y'all always are and I learned that from Brooklyn. Like, man, I just want to just take. I keep saying Brooklyn. You see how it gives me a little twinkle in my eye when I mention Brooklyn pastor. It's crazy because things that I'm doing now, I would never do. Like, I would still be setting up. 3 years ago, I would still be setting up when you pulled up. It's crazy that the things that instilled small things like getting ready for game day. Like you said, you studying for and I'm pretty sure you started studying way before the test.
yeah,
And you see what I'm saying? So it's things like that. Like, how are you able to get that work ethic to where you're doing things before you're doing things 100% even before you're going to reap any rewards for it? You see what I'm
well,
saying? Like, you're
yes,
still giving something, even media and stuff you're not getting paid for. Like, years ago, I had the problem of it's hard for me to give 100 to something that I'm not getting anything out of, and that's selfish mindset. But I got out of that. Thank God I got it. It was without God, I wouldn't have got out of that. So it's just like, what do you do to stay motivated in a way to where you're getting nothing from something, but you're still willing and able to pour so much of yourself into it?
well, I'll say I have to make sure I'm passionate about it.
Okay,
So if there's passion, then you'll do it because you care about it.
this is something you want.
This is something you want. This is something that you want to invest your time doing. So there's that. But then also, at the end of the day, if I'm assigned something, my name is attached to that,
Oh man, and
and that makes
that's
a
another
difference.
thing, man.
You know.
Man, you dropping all the things that I suffered with. That's called pride. I had no sense of pride with certain things, bro. And I was wondering, I was like, why is this person I keep using Brooklyn, but why is she so? It's just the song. It's just a color of a piece of paper. Why are you worried about the color of it? It's because your name is attached to it.
And then also,
It's bigger than just that
yeah.
small thing. It's like if my name is on it, I want this to be as perfect. Nothing can be perfect, but I want it to be as perfect as I possibly
Right.
can. And if I don't give it my all and try my best to make it perfect, I'm gonna feel down on myself.
Right.
You see?
And then also, I can't help but think about those that I would be impacting. So like for
Mm.
example, media stuff. Let's say if I miss filming the announcements,
Somebody was waiting on it,
somebody's looking to laugh on that Sunday.
or somebody's looking to laugh, or somebody, or you're say one of your announcements is about an event coming up. A person that needed that event didn't get that, didn't know about it because he only came to church that Sunday. And if he would have came to church that Sunday and you would have said that, he would have been somewhere where he needed. You see what I'm saying? It's deeper than just you. I
Right.
had to get out of that. It's deeper than just you. It's when you can when you can make your why as big and broad as possible.
Yeah.
It makes it to where you don't have to worry about, am I going to get up and do this? You're going to do
going
it
to do it.
if the Lord says the same. You're going to get up and do this because see how you're thinking about the viewers? A lot of people would think about just themselves. Oh, it's just one Sunday. No, it's not. It's a Sunday. Somebody's going to be sitting in those benches that's the only Sunday they're going to come to church this year.
Right.
And you could have made that 2 Sundays if you would have just, you see what I'm saying? It's bigger than just you.
Yeah, and just being joyful. about
what you're doing.
what you do. And then also it's all about perspective and then how you choose to look at life. You could wear, rose colored glasses, or you could just have them off and be more pessimistic than optimistic. So it's really just up to you.
And it's crazy that you talk about perception, and then earlier a while ago you said perspective as well, because the thing about it, I was talking to a friend of mine about perspective and how they always seem to this person, I'm not gonna say their name, they always seem to think that people are against them or have are thinking things about them, oh, my hair, or they. But when I grew into changing my perspective and things, you know what I realized? I realized that people are not thinking about you as much as you
No.
think.
That's why you need to have fun in life. Like, one thing that I'm a huge fan of is just, trying different things, especially whenever it comes to like, fashion, getting a cool jacket, trying different
Just
shoes,
trying different
just
looks.
thinking outside the box. And that's hard to do sometimes whenever you feel like you're confined, especially being in places where, creativity may not be
Be
something
accepted.
that's accepted.
Because we're not in LA or
No, we're not.
Atlanta or basically people, when you try things that people are doing all over, but your city isn't open to that,
Right.
it's considered weird or
Yeah,
different.
it's just, yeah. And so, one thing that I'll say is wear the shoes.
Just do it.
Just do it, because chances of people remembering that are slim to none.
Because nobody's thinking about
Nobody's thinking. No. And if people are looking at me, I want to make sure I look right.
you. Exactly.
Typically my selection whenever it comes to choosing my outfit for the day, I want the clothing item to speak for me before I even have to open my mouth.
Since you bring up outfits, I know I don't know if you want me to answer it first, but I know how I do it first. Is it clothes, then you pick shoes to match, or you start with the shoes?
Okay, so it really just depends. For a long time, I'd wake up and I just choose like how I was feeling, and I
Okay.
chose a color that represented that. So if I felt,
So you starting with the color.
Mhm.
Okay, got you.
like, oh,
But what if you don't have no shoes that match that color?
No, so this is my
'Cause
thing,
all
and
my
I
fits-
need your help
All my fits
because
starts with shoes.
no, I can't do. I'm not really.
Starts with
I'm,
what shoes do I want to wear today?
I'm not a shoe head.
And I build
A
around.
sneakerhead
I'm
is
not
what
really
they're
a
called, right?
sneakerhead, but I feel like it doesn't matter what I come up with clothes wise. If I don't have shoes to go with it, I'm out of there.
See, typically, it depends on the season, but I'll usually start with what am I wearing up top. But I also like to choose the pants, because out of any item, I'd probably say that my two statement pieces would be jackets, because I collect denim jackets,
Mhm.
or
I want to get into the
pants.
denim jacket. Not only do I want to get into the denim jackets, but I want to get into getting me a denim jacket or vest, well, both. And I want to put patches on it. Patches that mean something to me. I want to create me a patch jacket that I can just wear anytime I get ready.
Yeah. So one thing that I think is cool is being able to wear what you created.
That's what I want to do.
So I taught myself how. I taught myself how to make neckties.
Sew and things like that.
Mhm.
Oh, neckties?
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah. I started doing it. I started making neckties,
You
and
had to
so
show me some neckties you made.
I used to always wear this one all the time whenever I was on campus. It was black, white, and red. But I love it because I can. It's a great conversation starter, especially whenever you're networking at different events.
Especially, and then you if they ask about it, you can say you.
I did this,
made
and it shows how creative I am.
Wow. And then not only even man, that could go so far as opening doors for opportunities, because it shows how creative you are. Yeah, people be thinking, oh, it's just showing that he can create clothes, but it shows that how broad your mind is.
Right, because
And
there's
for
a
that
thought
position,
process.
maybe. Yeah.
Because you have to think, okay, what kind of fabric am I going to use? What am I trying to do? What statement am I trying to make? What pattern am I going to go for? Is it going to be like a paisley, or just something completely like
Wow.
a plain silk?
And that just shows not only
Whatever.
creativeness, problem solving skills, so man, that's a good way to think of it. That's a good conversation piece, because you never know what people are listening to and what
Never know.
things are they using. Because you got to realize, when you go to anything, job interviews, mixers, networking mixers, anything, they don't know you, so they're trying to figure you out.
Mhm.
So that's a good. I like that.
I had an interview that I did a while ago, and I wore one of my neckties that I created, and I mentioned it in the interview, just casually, and the entire time we talked about it. The entire time.
Wow.
I ended up getting the job, but
That's all you talked
I
about.
declined it because I'm trying to put the rich and richer, like I said earlier. So,
that,
but
that wasn't gonna put the rich and richer.
no. But the thing is, it's great that they appreciated that
Yeah.
because a lot of working environments, they claim to appreciate diversity, equity, and inclusion and creativity, but
Yeah.
it's more so performative
Mm.
than them actually meaning it. So I like being able to just take risks and trying different things from a fashion standpoint and making a statement without having to speak.
Got you. We kind of ran into that fashion tip, but that's a big deal. That is a big deal because that's one of the biggest forms of expression of how you feel and who you are.
Right. See, I used to, whenever I was making like a lot of content on my social, I had like Fashion Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I'd post every Friday, give tips, from styling for men, and then I would post Words of Wisdom Wednesday.
You know what I would like? You don't have to incorporate this, but I would like to because you give me model / everything media journalist vibes. So it's like I would like when you do pieces. I call them pieces because each thing that you do on Instagram to me is like considered art. To have like a small 2-paragraph story as to like because when you was telling me about the crow thing, that's a crazy way to think of that. It'll be nice to just read that underneath the post. That's crazy.
Okay, so I have thought about that, and
That's crazy.
One of my friends that I collaborate with suggested for me to do that too. And part of me is open to it, and part of me is a little bit nervous because the reason why I say that, I don't necessarily want to share my entire creative process.
Oh, okay.
Only because I feel like that's something very important.
It's precious to you.
And close to me. So I can tell you the story, and I've thought about making content where I'm showing you, the whole process.
Okay.
Because I actually did shoot behind the scenes footage
For that.
for the beach shoot.
Okay.
Choosing the outfit.
That was nice though. I liked it.
Thank you. That one was fun. that one was fun.
That was nice.
But but I might consider it. I might consider it.
Cool. So we talked about the fashion and things like that. I like how we went through with the schooling and stuff like that. But I want to talk to some people. What are some people or mentors in your life that's got Landon to where Landon is today?
Well, I'd have to say my family
for sure,
and my siblings. Growing up,
you owe me a soda. For sure, we both said for sure. Jinx, you owe me a soda.
That must be like what millennials say or something like that.
Anyway, when you say the same thing at the same time, it was a thing to where you say, Jinx, you owe me a soda.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever.
But I'd have to say my siblings and my parents, growing up and having 4 older siblings, we all accomplished significant things.
Man.
We weren't like...
And that's crazy. Every last one of your siblings.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That is a feat for your... I need to get your dad on here. Your mom.
Yeah. my dad will...
I know he would. Yeah. Your dad, man. Me and your dad.
He'll talk for...
Yeah, I'm going to get him on here.
Long time.
I can give me a 2-hour episode out of him and about 60 clips.
Yeah. It's but like having them and being able to look up to them, they did so many different things whenever they were in school. I wanted to be like them. My brother and sister, they were the mascots at Lamar University, and we created Lou. And so...
Y'all created him?
Mm-hmm.
Give me that.
Well, the girl one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Give me the story around how did that happen?
So basically, my sister, she was Big Red, and little girls kept coming up to her and saying, "Oh, we wish you had a girlfriend," because they felt like they had no one they could really connect.
They can be,
with, And so my sister brought this to the higher ups, and they let her make a prototype from a previous Big Red costume. So remember, we had to like doll that costume up. We bought hair. And we did a trial run, and everyone absolutely fell in love with it.
And Lou's still here to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so now she has a real costume, a real mascot costume, and now she's part of Lamar University, but that's cool. Wow. And so I was thinking, going into college, I knew that. I was there for the process. And so I kept asking myself, well, how can I leave my mark? And there was no pressure for me to do so, but I wanted to. My parents didn't say you have to be like your siblings. You have to do X, Y, and Z. They let Landon be Landon. And because I had that autonomy, I was able to just challenge myself in different ways because I knew I wasn't going to put on that suit. I was not
That's
gonna
one
sweat
thing
it.
you knew you wasn't gonna do.
I was not gonna sweat crazy like that. So I wanted to focus more so into the leadership side and my creativity, and that's what I did. And I'll say I'm really proud of the mark that I left.
Man, and now that when you bring up leaving your mark, there's things that can get you to a level of success without you even thinking about it. It's like we stated earlier, your why, making it more about yourself, having pride in what you do, and wanting to leave your mark.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a big thing. What can I do for people to remember me, and what can I do to every time this topic, Lamar University, gets brought up, I can say I did this.
Mm-hmm.
So wanting to leave your mark is a way to subconsciously make you just strive every day
Right.
because every day you're just like I need to make an impact. I need to
Mm-hmm.
make an
Mm-hmm.
impact
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll say going back to my name is attached to this.
to this man.
I want it to be excellent.
Hmm.
I wanted to do the best and the most that I could possibly do
Because this
because
says your name.
right. And then also, going back, how's it going to impact others? Whenever I'm interviewing students on campus through my talk show, okay, I have to be mindful of the types of students I'm interviewing. Representation matters. Checking off all the boxes, all different demographics, your non-traditional students, your students that are, in high school that are part of our early college program, talking to them.
Man, trying to serve the masses.
Hmm.
That's man, I love
I'm
it. I
I'm a
love it.
huge and firm believer in representation matters.
So outside of your family, which would be obvious,
Hmm.
people that have impact on you, what other people or places or whatever?
So I would have to say Brooklyn.
But man, you can't take
No, but Brooklyn and Pastor for
you
sure.
can't take my people.
No, but
man.
honestly though,
Nah, but that I knew you would probably
because
say
Pastor's
that.
been my pastor for 23 years, and I started working closely with Brooklyn, since I was 15, and
So it's inevitable.
right,
Yeah.
and just having conversations with them about life and about different things that I'd like to implement at the church and
I'm not
different.
gonna lie. I wish I would have met them when you met them at the age.
Mhm.
Man, I would probably woo.
And
I would be so far ahead in
Yeah.
life.
and it's just just having them to help guide me through. After I graduated, I was joking with Brooklyn and I said, okay, so I already started applying for my PhD, the different programs, different
Yeah.
universities, and she said, okay, cool. So when are you gonna hear back? I said, no, I haven't done that yet. She said, okay, but basically, I have to do it. Yeah, that's the next thing. I'm not letting you stop. So,
Oh, you're talking about she wasn't. She was drilling you.
well, she
On
wasn't
not
drilling me, but
letting you stop.
yeah, she told me I have to keep going.
That's what we was talking about a while ago, as far as
Mhm.
having somebody to hold you accountable and keep you
Right, right.
focused on what you need
And
to
so
do.
I was like, let me at least take a year off.
No.
I am 23, so let me focus on my career and
Yeah.
then go from there.
But the thing about it is, I come from a background of knowing people and being in a situation myself to where you had no choice but to take a break, but to stop it because finances and things like that is
Mhm.
things you have to do. But coming from a background of saying your parents were there and always willing, you could be with your parents while you figure things out,
Mhm.
or be with your parents while you're in school and things like that. I feel like being able to take advantage of that is just a great thing for you and other people who can do that because it just makes things a lot less stressful.
Hmm. And honestly, I'm truly thankful for my parents because they instilled in us at a very young age that they wanted us to continue on, and the sky's the limit.
Yeah, and it
That's what
really
they.
is. It really is. Well, actually, beyond the stars.
Hmm.
Like I love that. I love that.
And so I'm truly thankful for them. And then I'd also have to say, because I like to end it in threes. I'd probably say the next mentor. Oh, that's tough.
It would probably have to be somebody at your school, maybe,
Yeah,
or what high
it's tough
school or
because
college.
there's a lot of a few
A lot
I'm
of
thinking
people who
about.
made an impact on you.
Right,
Yeah.
but I would probably say I would say my friend Kevin McGee. He taught me how to think whenever you're out in the field and you're capturing pictures and you're you should think like an editor as you're in the field.
Mm.
So what shots are you wanting to get? You know, you need to make a shot list. And I
Mm-hmm.
ended up taking him as my professor because before he was my professor, he was my boss.
You're a
so,
professor in college?
mhm.
Oh wait, it
So he
was your
worked in at the marketing
it,
communications
it was your
office.
friend then professor.
Because
How did that happen?
we worked together,
Where
marketing communications. So he was
at
my,
Lamar?
hmm but
And
then
that
he
was
became a professor after getting his
he
master's.
became a professor at the school he attended.
hmm
Oh, I got you.
Yeah,
Okay, I see.
yeah,
I see. So he was a student when y'all were friends.
yeah. No, no, no. He was my boss.
He had already graduated.
He had already
Okay, I
graduated,
got you.
and then he became a professor. So he was my boss and friend before he became my professor.
And then okay, I get you. I get you. Okay.
And so I just learned a lot from him. I would ask him at least 30 questions a day whenever I first started learning about Premiere Pro. And
I believe you because I kind of like your question because it kept me on my toes because I was still learning as well. But it shows it shows passion and really trying to learn this thing instead of just jumping into it. Um, uh, what's the topic that Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you about how important is because all of it's art, music. How important is music to you?
oh my goodness, Rakeem. So if I could do anything.
Oh wait, you're one of the only people that actually say my name right. You, of course, Brooklyn, everybody, but my name is Rakeem. Everybody, I just want it not Rakeem, not Rickham, not Raheem. But thank you. But go ahead. How important is music to you?
It means the world to me.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love music. If I could choose anything to do for the rest of my life, it would be singing.
Oh wow, really?
I love to sing.
I
I'm
love
always
your
singing.
taste in music too.
Thank you.
Because my taste is very broad, and a lot of people that in my life don't understand. I listen to a lot of different genres. Like if you look at my Spotify, you'd be like, "Wow, who is this?" I'm gonna actually put you on a new artist, R&B artist that I want
Okay.
you to check out. We'll talk about it afterwards. But yeah, back to music. So, I can't remember when I first realized you could sing. I think you were singing at the church one time.
Probably because so here's my thing. I love to sing, but I don't sing around you unless I feel comfortable.
Oh yeah.
So
Of course, I don't sing around unless
right.
I feel comfortable.
But that's where you heard me sing
Had to
the
be at the church,
because you know whenever you're there and no one's there, the acoustics are crazy.
Yeah, because you can hear the ambiance of your voice, especially when the sanctuary is empty. It just floats. You like, oh, I got the reverb going on.
Now, if I'm singing like a R&B song or pop, I
Oh,
go
yeah,
to the foyer.
Gotta go to like this is still the Lord's house, but at least
Yeah.
I'm kind of like in the bathroom. Yeah.
But I absolutely love music, and it combines all of the elements for me because whenever I think of music, I think of the visuals that go along with the song. So I'm not just singing it to sing it because I like it. I'm singing it because there's a purpose behind it, and there's a reason why I chose the song. So that's something I'd really like to get back to eventually.
We can get back into it. You know where I am now, so it's
Yeah.
like we can schedule time. We both have busy schedules, but like I feel like I notice a lot of things in life. I plan and say, "Oh, we're gonna do this," but then you have to realize how short life is and stop saying we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and just actually
Do it.
plan it. Like say, okay, me and Landon, we want to do this and this. Let's put a date on it, even if the date is 4 weeks from now. Let's just put a date on it so that we know this date is coming. Because you keep every time. I know it's people in your life that you say, "Hey, we're gonna do this," and you just never do it, and before you know it, anything could happen.
Yeah.
To you or the other person, God forbid. But it's just like, let's just stop acting like we have all day.
Right.
You know?
So now, okay, what's your favorite genre?
I was just about to ask you, who's your favorite artist? That's crazy.
Ooh.
My favorite genre would be R&B. I love R&B. That's where I'm at. I listen to hip hop a lot. Lately, I've been listening to just a lot of podcasts. But as far as music, I listen to a lot of R&B, mainly R&B.
Okay. I'm actually starting to get more into R&B a little bit because so the crazy thing, I love pop music.
Pop. I already knew that. You told me that
That's
before.
all I really listen to.
I love some Billie Eilish though.
I love to sing Billie Eilish.
What You're Made For? Oh my god.
That one is good.
Is that what it's
But,
called? You're Made For?
I think
Yeah. I love
but
that
I
song.
like the one of the other songs that she has. But I love pop music, but the thing is I've noticed I always slow down the original, which in my eyes turns it into more of an R&B sound. because typically more R&B songs are a little bit slower, or if it's upbeat.
You know a song, not to cut you off. You know a song um that was very very good and well written that didn't get a lot enough attention to me. Is it by Ariana Grande? Point of View, is that her song?
Oh yeah,
That song did
it's
not get a.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's so well written. I
Mhm.
love it when you're on a
Yeah.
point of view. It didn't get enough
Yeah.
attention to me. I know that
I
it was
felt like
big.
it,
It
yeah,
just wasn't. I feel like that should have been
it's
way bigger.
it's a good one.
That's a good
I like
song.
that song. Um, but I probably if I had to choose like probably my favorite pop artist, man, I'd probably go with Bruno.
Bruno Mars.
Hmm.
I like the dynamic between him and Anderson Paak.
Okay, yeah.
I love what are they called together?
I don't know. I don't know all
When,
that.
when they make music together, what are they called? I'm gonna look at my phone because that's gonna bother me like that word bothered you. Hold on, Bruno Mars and Anderson. Bruno.
But like I like the old music Bruno made, like Locked Out of Heaven. You know that poppy sound, but he still has it like soul.
Silk Sonic.
Yeah,
Silk Sonic. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you said he has that soul.
He has that soul, but it's still like very poppy.
Yeah. He brings that the heart and soul of R&B into pop, to where it's like he's still singing very strong, but it still has that feel that
Right.
pop has.
Right, and that's kind of hard to do because typically
Very.
whenever you think of pop, in my opinion, I don't necessarily always think of power with pop.
You think of like
Meaning, like,
soft,
Softer,
subtle,
you
more
know,
subtle.
more like of a Dua Lipa sound,
Mm.
where you can tell that there's like some power there.
What would you think Billie Eilish would be considered? Would you consider that? I think it's kind of like an alternative something.
I think so too.
It's like a
Like
'cause
Bad Guy is definitely hardcore pop in my opinion.
you can't put her in the R&B box at all. So it's like, what is that? I don't know, but it's
neither.
beautiful, whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah, I love some Billie Eilish. Yeah, to me, music is a big thing because not only can it create a moment, but it has a lot to do with the way you feel in situations. Music can make you do, or it can just make you do a lot of different things. Music has a big impact on my life, and like you said, yours as well.
Have you ever seen those videos where people say like they'll show a scene from a movie and they'll say like music is important because if it's like a sad scene you would expect sad music.
Oh yeah, you know what? I was watching a movie and I was like, we never pay attention to what's causing us to feel the way that we feel. We think it's just the words of the actors, but really, you're hearing the music, but you're not.
Right.
It's strange.
Right.
It's like, unless you're in that field or you've had the sound design before, you're not thinking about this is why I feel like this.
Right.
And it's a lot that goes into creating these moments in movies and film and pictures from the way they color grade.
Right. It's a huge difference.
Man, I was watching something on the 13 Reasons Why. I never seen the I never watched
Me
it,
neither.
but I was watching a TikTok about it, and they wanted you to feel down and sad type in a way. They wanted you to understand. They were trying to express that feeling. They color graded in blue a lot,
Yeah.
and when you
cool.
watch scenes in the background, blue flowers and just blue everything, and it expressed the mood and the music as well. So it's like, it's crazy. Everything is art. Like it goes back to that.
Everything. And my favorite part about it is you can be as detail oriented as possible or as you want.
It can go far.
Every decision matters. That's what
Everything.
makes it fun.
Where's the camera going to sit?
Right.
What's in the background? Are we going to blur the background? Or are we going to
Right.
show them what's back there? What's in the foreground? What is the person wearing? What are they holding?
What? Yeah.
Are they going to be on this side of the camera on the grid? Are they going to be right in the middle?
How
Are
would
we
this
gonna...
person react in this situation? you know?
Yes, it's just crazy. A lot that goes in it. But off that topic, I want to go into something that we have to discuss. How has your Christian upbringing affected your life and just made things better, or in some ways, worse?
For me, I will say that, obviously I loved it because.
Well, let me just say this. When I say worse, I'm thinking I'm not speaking of it makes your life worse. I'm saying like
Right.
obstacles that you face because of your Christian beliefs and things like that. Not,
But
like you.
for me, I'll say that growing up in a Christian household, I'm grateful for that.
Okay.
Because now in life, we all go through trials and tribulations,
Yeah, of course.
but now I know how to walk through those situations in the event that I face them
Okay.
because I know who I can rely on and who takes care of me at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, you never. It's not just you.
It's not just me. And see, whenever it comes to like other things, for example, I choose to not partake in drinking alcoholic beverages. Even though I'm 23, I've never had a sip of alcohol. And that doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother you. Yeah.
Some people have said like, "Oh, Landon, that's a little weird." Okay, you can think that,
But that's just your choice.
but that's just my choice. So I have my own.
And it's crazy that
moral
you say that.
compass.
I chose not to drink alcohol. My first consumption of alcohol, I was 23. Actually, your age. And people always said you were 23. Yeah, I didn't drink. I was 23 years old when I had my first taste of alcohol. You ain't missing nothing.
So whenever I go to like happy hours for like networking purposes, I'm quick to order a Shirley with no shame. I'll just drink it. It's Sprite and what the little.
And what's the besides just not wanting to? Is it any reason? Because a lot of people who don't is because they're afraid of maybe getting addicted to it, or it's just no reason. You just don't want to.
I really don't want to. Plus, like when I I'm someone that consumes a lot of media.
Okay.
And so whenever you grow up and you're taking the DARE classes and you see how people have had challenging lives
because
they decided to partake in drugs.
You don't even
alcohol.
want to even
No,
get
because
that into.
I don't want to have a life like that
at all.
At all. So if I plus it's just I feel as though I don't really need alcohol to be the life of the party. And I know some people choose
they feel like they do.
Right.
They need
to loosen
to have
up.
fun.
No. Hey, what you get is what you see.
What you see is what you get.
Literally.
Yeah.
So, hey, I know how to have a fun time. And I'm perfectly fine with my water and my Shirley.
And your Shirley. Shirley's are good though. Man, that's actually a good drink.
Yeah. And
put a little Sprite in it, give it a fizz.
Sprite.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what's the flavor stuff?
Grenadine?
I think
is that what it's called?
I think
the
so.
Sweet red stuff?
Yeah.
It's called grenadine.
Yeah.
That's all you need. You don't need nothing. Or that's the Shirley? What's the one when you
No, I just said I don't drink, so I don't know.
No. Not the alcoholic. What's the one when you mix the tea and the Palmer?
Arnold Palmer?
Yeah, what is that?
It's just sweet tea and lemonade.
Okay, yeah, sweet tea and lemonade. Okay.
Yeah.
I've done that before and add Sprite for fizz. You tried it before?
Not with Sprite.
Try it. Sweet tea, lemonade, and put a little. It gives it a little.
Okay. I'm not judging, but I'm judging.
Oh man. So I guess it's no longer called the Arnold Palmer. Whatever.
Well, I know like certain places have different names because Arnold Palmer was a golfer, I believe.
For real?
Yeah.
Never knew that.
Like
I didn't even know that was a
country
name. I thought that I never even cared what it was.
Yeah,
it's
so
a
like
person?
apparently he went to a country club and he would always order a sweet tea and he'd get lemonade in it. And so
Really?
it became the Arnold Palmer.
Never knew why.
Now you can fact check me.
I'm gonna fact check you after this.
But
and guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna text you and say wrong. No, I'm pretty sure you're right.
I'm probably right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. But before we end though, I want you to give like the viewers, because I told you what this is about. We're trying to make people feel comfortable in themselves and give them some encouraging words to, just level in life. Even though what we just gave throughout the whole podcast was gems, but what's some last words you would like to give?
Be yourself.
At all times.
At all times. And the reason why I say that, most people walk through life and they try to paint a perfect picture of who they are. They paint this persona, but of course it's important to have an idea of who you want to be and be that person. But then also, at the end of the day, all you have is yourself. It's important to love yourself and just be yourself. So whenever you go to work, show up as yourself. Don't feel the pressure to conform to how everyone else acts.
Or their idea of what they think that you should be.
Right. Have fun, experiment, try different things, get outside of your head. So I'll go back to my social media. I made this post and if you look at it, it's like my head is split in half. So on one side, for the first post, it's like my right side or left side. The middle, it's like different heads. And then the other side is the other side of my face. So that post represents being in my head, because I've been that person. So being someone that is a perfectionist, I can sometimes overthink
Gotcha.
to the point to where that's all I'm thinking about is just that one thing, and then I end up not necessarily acting on it.
Have you ever had this thing happen to you to where you create something and it's fire? You've been working on it so much, and then you keep looking at it, and then it's no longer fire to you, and you scared to release it?
Yes. So remember whenever we used to record music,
Uh-huh.
I still have all the samples on my
Yeah,
phone.
and I used to tell you that
And
it's good, put it out, and
I
a lot of them
listened to
never
them.
came out.
I listen to them still to this day.
But I've gotten better, so we can get it to sound a little better than that too, as well. So,
But I still listen to them pretty much every day, at least for sure once a week.
got you.
And I'm like, man,
Just to
why
go back
did I
and-
not release it? And I remember one time whenever I was doing my Words of Wisdom Wednesday series, I had mentioned like my first time in the studio, and I played the Billie Eilish and Khalid song "Lovely," and the response and the reaction that I got was crazy. I didn't expect it because I was like, it was literally just a test. I was just playing around to see what
Testing the
my
waters,
voice would sound like, but it became my favorite thing. So that was a sign to just get out of my head, and I'm learning that as I go through life. But to sum it all up, just be yourself, show up as yourself, and don't be afraid to take risks because you only have one life. I know it's kind of cringe, YOLO is,
But it's true.
but it is true. It is true, and make the most of it. You
And then
you
don't be
wanna-
scared to do stuff because, like you
Right.
said earlier, when you do things, no one's gonna remember for the most part. Like if it was something that was like, that wasn't good, they'll talk about it, and then they'll be on to the next.
There's something else that's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
So like, you just try things.
Just try until even if you get it wrong, okay, cool. You'll figure
Go
out
back
what
to
to
the drawing
do.
board.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it from Landon. Be yourself, which you already knew, but now you get a double take on that because at the end of the day, like he said, all you have is yourself, and don't come. What's the word I'm looking for?
Conform.
Don't conform into the idea of you that everybody else has. But if it's your first time watching, I want to thank you for watching, and you can follow the B4Real Podcast on Instagram at B4Real Media, and you can follow Landon as well. I'll have his handles and stuff under him on
At
the
Landon_Richard4.
at Landon_Richard4.
I have
And
it
you
memorized.
can follow him and watch him and on his journey of putting a rich in Richard.
Yep.
But yeah, so you can follow us on all those platforms, and you can also listen to this podcast. You don't have to watch it; you can listen to it while you drive, or anything like that. We'll be on all platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts, anywhere where you get your favorite podcast. So I want to thank you for watching today's episode. Bye bye.
I didn't say thank you for having me.
Oh,
Thank you for having me.
that's gonna stay in the video. Thank you.